So I was very humbled and excited to be offered the opportunity to take part. I, of course, was fully cognizant of the fact that my heritage brought a bonus for the military, let's just say. The military perhaps isn't as representative of society with regards to the recruitment of ethnic minorities, and this would have been a perfect opportunity for the Royal Air Force to portray an officer on the front line of my heritage. At the time, I felt incredibly proud of the work I was doing. Due to the age and the isolation perhaps of the base, especially within the accommodation areas, there had been stories and rumours of violent incidents that had happened in the Falklands. I was on call effectively that evening. It was quite late one Saturday evening, and an army corporal who was unfortunately quite intoxicated was within or near our accommodation area, and I was aware that I couldn't really leave him on his own because I was concerned about where he was going to end up, what he was going to do in that state. So I offered to try and help him find his colleagues or his friends. As I walked away from the individual, for whatever unknown reason, he decided to launch quite a vicious and savage attack on me, effectively jumping on me as I was walking away and putting me in a strangulation hold. I started feeling effectively the sensation of my eyes popping out my head. It felt like my head was exploding from the pressure, and there was no air going through my lungs. I couldn't shout or scream, but I managed to realise that by dropping my shoulder in such a way, his head would hit the ground first, and after doing it a number of times, eventually his grip released and he was thrown off my back. I think unfortunately the military has enough of a reputation to do with incidents involving race that it's very hard to remove that as a factor. And I understand, and being in the courtroom, I know that the defence put a lot of emphasis on how superficial my injuries seemed. It's disheartening that overall it feels like the case wasn't given the seriousness as it perhaps should have done. At that moment, after the not guilty verdict, I knew I couldn't continue to serve in an organisation that had allowed that to happen, but also failed to make right. I know very well how close I was to dying. I know very well what the feeling was like to have someone trying to extinguish the very life within you. It's very hard to discount that actually this was a matter they wanted to try and sweep away under the carpet. And it would have been easier to do so if race wasn't a factor.
Right. I fully understand, sir. I understand that, you know, when this is on Panorama or this goes to court, that the serious breach is a service number, a status of reserve, and null records for an AFT search on January the 10th, 2022, showing null records, N-U-L-L, i.e. no recordings of any AFTs. And you are fully aware that I was assaulted over an unlawful order on February the 29th, 2020 by WO2 Kerr, when stating...
Can I stop you there, please? Because that's not what the subject of this hearing is. The subject of this hearing is a serious data breach. And as I said to you, I'm satisfied that the conduct occurred. I'm satisfied there was a thorough investigation. And I'm satisfied that the service test has been breached. The starting point for very serious misconduct is a reduction in rank. But to me, the nature of your experience leads me to believe that it was reasonable and proportionate of the deciding officer to award you a sanction of termination of service for that offence.
For that offence.